The S24 Ultra is a fantastic phone. I think it's probably the best phone this year so far, and it's killing Apple in one big way, and that is AI. So I know a lot of people eye roll and they cringe whenever they hear AI. That's fine. It's here. It's the future. It's going to get better. But here's the big thing. When Samsung came up with all their AI, and I kind of scoffed it off. I didn't think too much of it with the whole Galaxy for like Galaxy AI for all kind of thing, AI for everyone. I didn't know what that meant. And then as we see, as the phone has come out and they've rolled it out to more and more phones, you see a lot of the AI features on the S23 Ultra, on the S23, on the S22, even some of them in limited fashion on the S21. So that's S24, S23, S22, partially S21. 4 generations of phones, all with AI. And then we had Apple's WWDC the other day where they came up with all these cool AI things that they're coming out for their phone. They won't be here till October or September, whenever the new iPhone 16 comes out. That means they're almost a year late to the party that got started by Google and Samsung. But on top of that, the other issue is it's only going to work with the iPhone 15 Pro and newer. And I made a video about this specifically for the iPhones the other day, the iPhone folks, because if you've got an iPhone 15, you're not going to be able to use the AI features. If you got an iPhone 15 Plus, iPhone 14 Pro, Pro Max, none of that stuff. It is only backward compatible for the 15 Pro and Pro Max. And that's kind of troublesome to me. And that's where one way Samsung differentiates in their business model as opposed to what Apple does. So Samsung is very liberal with giving a lot of stuff, like not just, of course, trade-ins and perks and all that stuff, but when it comes to software, they're really good at supporting previous generations with newer features. And this is the biggest expansion of new features we've seen on older devices, I think, ever. And that inclusivity, I think, is very important because one, it allows more people to take advantage of a lot of these AI capabilities, but two, it gives you more value in your phone, especially whenever you have the new phone that's supposed to be supported for 7 years. Yes, the S24 series supported for 7 years. 7 years of operating system updates, 7 years of security patches. That's a long time. So if we can look back 3.5, 4 years ago to the advent of the S21 series phones, and we're getting limited support for those with the AI features, looking ahead, that looks really, really good for the S24 Ultra. Whereas you look at the iPhone 15 Pro Max, it's been out for a year almost, and it's the only series that's getting it, the 15 Pro and the Pro Max. So that's going to make millions and millions and millions of people, if they're interested in getting these AI features, the new upgraded Siri and all that stuff, have to go buy a new phone. And that's one of the frustrating things about Apple. They very much try and find new ways to make their old technology obsolete. I just recently made a video talking about the iPad Pro. I've really enjoyed the new iPad Pro, but it irks me that they didn't make the Magic Keyboard compatible. They didn't make the Apple Pencil Generation 2 compatible. You have to buy a whole new one. And the other ones are not even that old. So you could have a perfectly good, M2 iPad Pro. If you wanted to upgrade, you would have to buy all new stuff. So not just a new iPad, but a new keyboard, a new pencil, all that crap. And that's something that Apple is really good about doing that Samsung isn't necessarily as bad about doing. I'm not saying that they don't do it from time to time, but yeah, this whole AI thing, this AI revolution in the smartphone world, I think it's important to, I really think that Samsung is the king of AI when it comes to smartphones right now. You would think it would be Google, but Google has had their own misgivings with their own platform because we've seen it recently when they talked about not being able to support Gemini Nano for the Pixel 8, and then they reversed the course on that one, and you can enable it in developer settings and stuff, but it's not going to run as well as it does on the Pro. And they've got the Tensor G3. So we thought the Tensor G3, 8 gigabytes of RAM, it should be pretty good, and then find out they have limitations with their own AI. And they did make some of the features backwards compatible and available for other people, but I think Samsung, with the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3, Snapdragon 8 Generation 2, these chipsets that they have, the amount of RAM they have in their phones, and just the way they've been doing so good with incorporating these AI features and how smoothly they run, and making them inclusive with the Samsung AI for all policy, I think has been a big win for them. And I was just looking at an article today, or how they were talking about how Samsung is surprised they keep selling more phones than they expected. And I think a lot of that has to do with, one, how good the S24 series phones are. The S24 is fantastic. I love the S24. And then I love the S24 Ultra too. And the Plus, honestly, I think the S24 Plus could be the phone of the year. I don't always say the best and the brightest, most expensive phone could be the best for everyone, but with what they've done with the S24 Plus and the pricing on it, and what they've done, I really think it's a good phone. But the S24 Ultra, at first I was a little disappointed. Like, yeah, they're going to add titanium. Yeah, they're going to make it a little bit brighter. But there really are some noticeable differences. People really love the flat screen. They like the level of brightness that the screen has. They fixed the saturation stuff and made it where it's more vibrant. And of course, it's got good battery life. Well, sometimes it does. They've had some issues with the updates. There are some people who've really been complaining about the battery life, but hopefully that gets back on track for everybody. But overall, I think that what Samsung did this year, bringing the 7 years of support, bringing the AI, bringing the brighter screen, the new Snapdragon chip, the titanium, the Gorilla Glass Victus armor, there's just so many things they did, even with the anti-reflective coating on the screen. I think even though it looks very much like last year's phone, it's a tale of two cities whenever you actually get them in your hands and you realize all the stuff that Samsung actually did to it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the S25 Ultra next year, or the S25 series. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Z Fold 6 coming up. I know I've had some criticisms on that. I'm concerned and worried they're going to use the same cameras again. It looks like it's going to be 12 gigs of RAM across the board. I really think they need to bump it to 16, especially with all the AI implications moving forward. So yeah, there are question marks, but whenever it comes to AI and when it comes to the way that Samsung is doing business, especially when you contrast it with the S24 series versus the iPhone 15 series, I think Samsung wins this year. And there's a lot of stuff I like about the iPhone 15 Pro series. I like the action button. I do like the chipset. I think it's good. The battery life on my Pro Max has been all right. The camera's pretty top notch. But then you get into the Apple-ism of the culture and what the company does as a whole. And then the iPhone has not been without issues. Of course, we know the back is more fragile. It's had a lot of heating problems. Mine's had a lot of heating problems. Mine overheated on me and started shutting off features from my recording just in a 5-minute recording while I was in Las Vegas last week. So yeah, there are issues that they messed up with, I think, when it came to implementing that titanium, because titanium's cool. But what a lot of people don't know is when these chips, they generate heat, it kind of gets absorbed and pushed out and kind of, not evaporated, but anyway, it gets wicked away and sent out to the frame of the phone. Well, titanium is not very good at dissipating heat. So whenever that heat reaches it, it holds on to it more than, let's say, an aluminum or a stainless steel body does, which internally causes more heat rising issues. So I think Samsung did a better job with that. But overall, I think right now Samsung is the king of AI. And I think that they've done a better job with it than what Apple is doing so far. They've been ahead of the game. They've been proactive. And they're not cutting off their customers. In fact, they're giving it to so many different phones, it almost makes you not need to upgrade because you don't have to worry about it. So I think this is probably the first time I can say Samsung ever actually tried to save some people money by giving you features that make you don't need to upgrade. So anyway, that's all I got in this video. I just wanted to talk about that stuff and the distinction between the two. But the S24 series, top notch. Mainstream phone here in the United States, I think it's still the best that people can get, and especially with that 7 years of support. So that's all I got. If you have any questions or comments, please go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.